Howdy doody, and welcome to the Friendship News Hour presented to you by Bummer Dude Media. Today is February the 1st, 2023. The rent is due. Alex, his name's Alex, my name's Frank. Sir, do you know of a word in the English language that can describe the phenomenon when you are scanning a room and a word catches your eye and you remember the word but you don't remember where you saw it?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not at all.
You don't know what I'm talking about? This doesn't happen to you? Okay, paint the scene.
Yeah.
Let's say you're at a barbershop, right? Mm-hmm. And you're getting your hair cut and you're looking at the wall and the barber chair turns you around. And as you turns you around, you notice that you see the word stylish. But you don't remember, like the word enters your brain. You know you saw it, but you don't remember where it was that you picked that word up in the room.
Okay. And then when did it reoccur in your life?
This happens to me quite regularly. Like I'm surprised that you don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm sorry, I don't. You got this like Rain Man? You like see the word like in your floating in the air then afterwards? Like you're just like looking around a room and you like pick up a word. Like I'm scanning the room right now and I'm looking at the interface that we're using and it says PreSonus. Mm-hmm. If I was in a room, like I could that had, for whatever reason, like recording instrument. If I was in your studio, for example, and I'm scanning the room and I see the word PreSonus, I know I saw it, but I don't remember exactly where. Like word deja vu almost?
Yeah, kind of.
I see what you're saying. I don't experience that.
I hope somebody listening now knows what I'm talking about because I feel like I'm losing it. And I have been my whole life. Like this is a phenomenon that's gone on like my entire life as long as I can
Interesting.
remember. And it happened today. And I was like, what is the name of that? What does that mean? Or what is how do you define that?
Definitely. I probably like observe it in some kind of a photographic memory or like a informational memory kind of a thing. That's probably why you're so good at this kind of thing. Remember facts and you probably have a pretty good brain on you, bud. I'd say.
You think so?
I'd say so. Makes up for your looks, but I mean, you're pretty damn smart.
Yeah, thank God for that. We all can't have everything. Anyway, how you been, man?
I've been good, man. I've been really good. Just busy, bro. Just been recording a lot with a lot of sessions lately, and work's been crazy, and we're doing this, but it's been good, man. I feel like I've been very focused this new year and like trying my best to hustle and make some shit happen. So it's been productive.
Yeah, for sure. These are the times of our lives. I had a conversation with a coworker this week. He's at I guess you could call it like the twilight of his career. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how he had given a lot to this company that I work for, and that he made mention that he could have been a better father, but he chose to put in more hours at work.
Oh.
And those are the words he used, and I'm thinking, damn, that's crazy because I'm away from the house right now, and I don't think I'm doing any like sort of irreparable harm, but I feel like every time I go for a work trip or every time that I decide that I need to be present elsewhere from outside of his life, I feel like those decisions compound so that when you look back years later, you're thinking like, oh man, like, that all those decisions I made in the moment didn't feel so big, but now that I look back, they add up to more in my head than I realized at the moment. And it scared me, man. It kind of put a little fright into me. I'm like, I don't ever want to have that thought, like I enjoy my work and I really like working hard and like, I love working to achieve a goal and I know it's to provide for my family. But at the other end, I'm like, oh shit, I really don't ever want to have that kind of thought or resentment of the time that I spent.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. Cause I mean, I'm at my happiest when I'm with my family. I honestly would say that. But like, I also know that like the best way to help provide for my son or like set him up with the best future is to like kind of work my ass off as much as I can now to like have as many opportunities or whatever it is to like provide for him. And if he wants to, I guess, can go to college and like can be on a good career path to do whatever. Like, and I feel like those business trips, the traveling, like my late night recording sessions, like a lot of that stuff is just kind of part of that. But it's just about like with anything, it's just about finding balance in those things to, do both, like so that you don't at the, as your colleague was saying, like maybe look back in the twilight of your career and regret the time that you did miss with your family. Because if you go too far, too hard with the work, then you're going to miss a lot of precious moments that you never can get back, That's
what I'm saying. So I'm going to resign to playing the lottery, I think.
Yeah.
That's the simplest route.
Yeah. But also there's fulfillment in working hard and knowing that you're like hustling and bustling, bro. Like there's like just personally, like even if it's not for providing reasons and all this other stuff, like that does make you feel good. Better than kind of being a lazy asshole. But
I also feel like that can, it can make you feel a little selfish about it. Because yes, you're providing, but it's not only for that, right? There's plenty of people out there who work for a living who don't necessarily enjoy what they do, but they find joy in the fact that they're a hard worker.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Irrelevant of what they're doing. I love what I do. I feel like not a lot of people can say that. So when I'm out here doing these things, it's also stimulating and rewarding and fun for me. And so like, I feel like I need to find, like you mentioned, the balance. Because I want to be doing these things, but I also want to be at home. And I know that me doing these things equates to, I think, a better life at home, right? I don't know. Maybe not. Time will tell.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But it was an interesting thought.
As we've started a family too, just kind of on like that precipice of like whatever, I don't know, of like, at least for me, like really digging into what my career would be. I'm at like I'm at a weird place. I guess you've kind of been there for a while and have had your direction with what you want to do, and you continue to just keep growing and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm at like a unique point right now where I could go a lot of different ways, and I've kind of started to focus on the things that mean most to me career-wise, and I'm starting to like see the rewards of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man, absolutely. There's a concept. I think it's a concept that I've been toying with for a while, but I'm going through this leadership program right now, and it's one that's really driven home, and that's like the concept of saying no for the sake of clearing that path for what you want to do. Right? Like, you put a focus, you figure out what's important to you. What are your values? What drives you? And then taking that information and saying, okay, based off of that, what is the avenue that I could take that, would I think could provide me, the best personal fulfillment and also for everything around me, my entire ecosystem. Yeah. And then you find that path and you stick to it and you put blinders on and you la 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 and then listen to nobody over here and nobody over here. And I think that's a concept that's kind of like more or less made it mainstream. But I think today it's more like about like self-love and self-acceptance, all these things about the self, instead of like you can achieve that for yourself, but also you can make it about your entire ecosystem. That also requires a subset of very like strong and rigid boundaries as well. Yeah. And so when I hear you talking, it's like, I realize that myself as well. And I it's a little daunting, but I love it. I think it's incredibly rewarding, and I'd be lying to you if I said that the boy wasn't a big factor in that as well, because it definitely allows you to shed a lot of things, and you're like, okay, I know it's important now. All that other stuff is just kind of whatever.
I'm starting to see some videos of him online more and more, man, and laughing, and more the personalities coming out. This shit is so cool.
It helps that he's like the cutest baby objectively. He's the cutest baby to ever exist, man. It's like, I know everyone thinks that their baby's cute, and I think a lot of babies are, for the most part, cute. Yeah. But this guy's got it going on, man. He's just so damn popular everywhere.
Hell yeah.
It's crazy.
Dude, I love, for the listeners, me and Frank kind of share an HBO account. We each have our own separate profiles to keep our watch history separate. And I noticed that your brother Steven added a new profile this week, and he followed suit with our pictures, which had started as nipple pictures, but have now since changed to something more family friendly. And we now use pictures of our kids. And it looks like they used a picture of the ultrasound, huh?
Yeah. He joined up last week. He asked me for my password, and then I log on that day, and I thought it was his cat. And I was like, what? I was like, oh, that's funny. Haha, your kid, I get it. And then Jack's like, oh my God, no, look closer. Put on your glasses, moron. It was his ultrasound. So it was a picture of Camilo, it was a picture of Walter, and then an ultrasound. It's awesome. It's really freaking cool.
Puts a little smile on your face when you open that, for sure.
Sure does, man.
Any good shows lately? Any new things any suggestions?
Like everybody, The Last of Us, we've been watching that. Yeah. We just rewatched a HBO show called All of Kittredge. It's a miniseries.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it. Is it good?
It's good, but it's different. It's got like a lot of themes of like healing your the trauma from your parents and stopping the cycle of whatever your parents brought. That theme is pretty heavy, but it involves, oh gosh, now I'm on the spot. I'm not gonna be able to remember her name. Frances McDormand.
Oh yeah, great actor.
And then Richard Jenkins, who's the dad and stepdad. Or Step Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
And Bill Murray actually plays a small role in it, too.
It's cool.
Very weird. But yeah, it's a good show. I mean, Frances McDormand is like one of the best actresses ever. So like she kills it. She plays a really good role. But yeah, just that and then The Last of Us.
Yeah, Last of Us has been good. I played like a huge chunk of that first game, so it's been really cool to like see the things they've done the same and like how even like shot for shot they've like recreated cutscenes from the game. That's been really cool. But then this new episode, they just like gave backstories to characters that they really didn't dive that far into in the game. And like that third episode was just like some really great writing, man. Like I don't want to spoil anything or anything like that, but good to see. I love seeing good television that's well written and isn't just like following like a formulaic kind of a strategy to just get viewers or whatever. I kind of feel like...
Does that have anything to do with the video game?
In the video game, Bill, who's played by Nick Offerman in the show, is a character that you come across and meet, but his partner, Frank, is not someone that you really introduced to or get much of their backstory or anything. It's just you kind of have an encounter with this Bill guy and then go on and kind of do your own thing. So it's like they kind of took that, which is cool because they're showing... with all the shot-for-shot and all the different things they're doing with the cutscenes and stuff like that, they're showing that they want to be true to it, but they're also showing like, hey, we want to kind of step outside of the world of the box of this video game and, you know, build on this world and, you know, just tell good stories. And that's my favorite thing about, you know, short stories, television, movies. Like, I just like to watch a well-told story that is then well-acted. Like, when things like that can make you like feel something, just watching them sitting there like a fucking, I mean, I don't want to say an idiot, but you know, when you could sit there and spend time and watch something and then feel and you know, learn or whatever it is, like that tells you something about the quality of the content. You know?
It gives you the feels. It was good. It was a good episode. I didn't think it was going to link with the actual like main arc of the story. I literally thought it was just like a love story on the side, which it kind of was, but then. I'm not going to spoil it for everybody, but anyways, I literally thought it was just like a complete separate story they were going to tell for the rest of the episode. But the way it was just it was great. Yeah, it was really good.
One I did want to say, we've talked about this off air, but me and Sarah just finished it yesterday. Was Under the Banner of Heaven.
Oh yeah, that's what I told you about that show on the show here.
Yeah. We finally got to watching it, man, and I can't recommend it highly enough.
Crazy story. It's true.
I was going to ask because it never really said if it was a true story. That was a true story?
Oh, hell yeah. True ass story.
Wow. I knew it was a book, so I'm like, well, but man, dude, it was such a crazy, like I love shit like that, like Handmaid's Tale too, just like those when religion gets crazy, that kind of thing, but just once again, the way they told the story and the twists and the turns, and I thought Andrew Garfield was phenomenal in it, man. I haven't really seen him act in many other things outside of like Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, to be God, right? That was awesome.
Yeah,
I feel like they did it pretty well. You know, like to develop that like manipulative, almost cultish kind of demeanor that these people walk in is you know. Pretty intense. Yeah.
And the very first suspect, the husband of the wife and their daughter that's killed, just said it really like our religion can breed dangerous men, and then they go into like the tenets of all this stuff and how people like can misinterpret for their own whatever it is, their ego, their own whatever it is driving them in like the name of God to like do all the crazy things that they end up doing in the show, and it's just like to watch that like unfold. And I always love like a good detective show, so like I think that was done really well. But it just sucks with miniseries, man, because like ones like this, they're so well done, it like draws me in. It's like I would love to watch another season of like Andrew Garfield of that, but like a different story, you know. But it's like
disagree.
You just like that it's open shut.
The finality is what makes it good.
Yeah,
absolutely. Open and close. Tie a bow right there. When a show has like a really, really good season, like I feel like that's as long as it needs to be. You know what I mean? Like I loved Breaking Bad, but that show drug on for a long time.
But it ended well though.
You know what I mean? All these shows that go 5, 6, 7 seasons is just like Walking Dead, whatever, like that. It just kind of it gets stale. Yeah, you know. Yeah. There's only so much you can go. I like the arc, the one arc.
Like tell the good story. Yeah, I guess that's true because they're focused on telling the story as best as they can and not thinking like, okay, how can we stretch this for 4 more seasons to keep making money? And that's true. You're more focused on.
I feel anxious when I get on a cliffhanger, and every season you're going to have to get ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's how I feel about anything, any sequel. I saw that the next Batman's not going to come out until 2025. It made me so mad.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
It's such a long time.
Yeah, but DC made some big announcements this week, man.
Did they?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, but
hold on to your hats, folks.
I won't go into it too much. I need Rager here for someone to appreciate this.
DC made some announcements.
DC, yeah, well, they're trying to redo everything, man. They're trying to right their wrongs because they've kind of been a shit show of a franchise for a long time now. Although I think still they have the best superhero movie of all time in The Dark Knight. Like I don't think any superhero movies come out ever that's better than that. But they just kind of have like not have a very like organized universe as Marvel kind of has, or like at least Marvel makes it all fit together, even though it's like got increasingly crazy with all the universes and how nothing means anything and all this shit. But it looks like DC's kind of like trying to trend that way, and they're going to do a bunch of recasts of Batman and Superman, and they're going to try to tell the Green Lantern story a little bit better and do a bunch of other things. So basically what they're going to do is use the movie The Flash, which has got like rave reviews, and it must be phenomenal because the dude Ezra Miller that's the star in it has like gone on drug and alcohol benders, had people like imprisoned at his house. He was doing shit with minors, and all this shit has come out since this movie's been finished filming, and DC has stayed the course that they're going to still release it. So this movie's got to be like next level good for them to not just scrap it. But what it sounds like is that movie is going to basically like destroy everything that has come and repave the way for like the new DC universe. And then James Gunn and his comrades are going to take it from there and kind of tell a bunch of new stories and try to fix the wrongs as they have seen them. So should be interesting.
Well, thank God for that.
And I know like me and maybe like two other people listening care, so I will stop talking about superheroes. Oh.
I know a lot of people like that shit. I just have never cared.
Yeah.
Never, not once. They're all kind of the same movie to me, really, when it comes down to it.
It's true. It is true.
But I won't hate on you. That's what you like. Run it.
Yeah. Let's run some news. That's what this podcast is supposed to be.
Let me ask you a question. But it's obviously the biggest story, I think, in the mainstream is Tyre Nichols. Mm-hmm. And the pretty awful murder of Tyre Nichols. When did you first hear of this young man?
After it happened. I honestly, like probably 2 weeks ago, I would say. I don't feel like I heard about it like when it initially happened, which is strange.
Yeah, probably same for me. And I think I'd seen little bits and pieces of it. It didn't really come into my square focus until they started talking about the video. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, it goes without saying, if you've seen the video, then you know it's terrible.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen the video, but you know what happened, it's still terrible all the same. Like, poor guy was murdered, and in like brutal fashion too. Like really just terrible, awful disdain for human life. But I have to take some exception here, Al, because it really frustrated me when I saw that people were hyping. When I say people, I mean the news was hyping a police video. The release of a police video was being hyped on news.
Yeah.
I thought that was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I saw, what's the name of that thing at the bottom of the screen they run on the news? What's that thing called?
Ticker?
Yeah, that's what I said, but it's not ticker. There's an actual name for it. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. I was looking on Twitter on an NBC News. It said, America braces for release of Tyre Nichols video. And I'm thinking, we're bracing for this video? This is what you're showing here? Like, I couldn't believe that this was the kind of attitude that was going, like they wanted attention to this video. And it like blew my mind that this was the way that this was being portrayed. And of course they released this video on a Friday night when everybody's amped up because they knew it was coming. They said a couple of days before that they were going to release it on, like, why do you set a time and date? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. And people were upset as you might be, to see this video. And it becomes the story of the greater the policing of America, right? And of course, you're going to hear about white supremacy and all this bullshit. And I think you and I know that that's mostly bullshit, right? Like, there is no like underlying white supremacy in 5 black cops killing another black man. That's just shitty people, dude, who got corrupted by a system.
Correct, but I think there is like an underlying theme in America, just like in general. Like, that's a broad stroke statement, but I think white supremacy is present in a lot of different things. Okay,
I think you're wrong, but definitely wrong about police killings and white supremacy on whole, right? Mm. And I have some numbers here to back this up. So, in New York City, home to the nation's largest police department, police shootings have declined about 90% since the early 1970s. Nationwide, police killed 999 people in 2019, according to a database maintained by the Washington Post. The victims, almost all of them who had weapons, included 424 white people and 253 black people. So you have almost twice as many white people being killed by the police than black people in 2019. Even assuming the worst, that the police officers in the Tyre Nichols video are as guilty as they appear to be, it would be wrong to generalize about policing based on this incident. The data simply does not comport with the criticism of cops as racist and prone to excessive force. What we know from past experience is that the violent crime in Memphis, Tennessee, where the incident occurred, is likely to get worse before it gets better. And this is a phenomenon that we now have a lot of data to reflect on. Roland Fryer, a Harvard economist who has researched the aftermath of high-profile encounters between black suspects and police, found a disturbing pattern. When police departments are investigated following incidents of deadly force that have gone viral, police activity tends to decline and violent crime increases. This happened in Ferguson, Missouri after Michael Brown was gunned down. It happened in Chicago after a cop fatally shot Laquan McDonald. And it happened in Baltimore after a young black man died in police custody after his arrest. So what this Harvard economist is arguing is that not only is it not racist, what the policing that we have in America, backed up by the data of police killings, but every time there's a story like this one, police tend to under-police in this area as a form of, I don't know, compassion or just trying to lay low for a little bit. So these areas become under-police and violent crime increases in all these areas where these incidents occur.
Real quick, just some pushback on that. What was that stat you said again, the numbers? Because was there a 2-to-1 kind of a thing between white and black?
Yeah, so it says 909, we'll call it 1,000. Police killed 1,000 people in 2019. Mm-hmm. Okay. The victims, all of whom had weapons, included 424 white people and 253 black people.
Okay.
12 of the black victims and 26 of the white victims were unarmed.
So that stat as it is like, oh, wow, okay, I get it. But what I'll also say is if you look at the U.S. population by race, 60% of it is white, and of the black community, I think it's like 12%. I'm looking right here it's like 12.2%. So like by the numbers, 4 times as many, you know what I mean? Like it's not, that stat doesn't make as much sense, like doesn't hold as much weight to me.
Well, yeah, but okay, so we're talking about an incident that happened that in general, the American public has an outcry about because
right.
It is horrible. Mm-hmm. And then takes it a step further and says, yes, this is a clear-cut example of white supremacy in American policing. Moreover, it doesn't matter that the 5 policemen who killed this man were black. It matters the institution that they're in. That's the real problem. It's white supremacy in the institution, and these guys just fell victim to that. So what we're saying is, okay, maybe police kill way more white people than they kill black people, but that still doesn't mean that the police department isn't racist.
But the chance of them running into a white person are over almost 5 times more likely just based on the population of America, though.
So then how come this many more white people were killed?
But it's not that many more. It's twice as many white people, but you have almost 5 times as many white people in America compared to black people.
So you're saying it should happen?
No, I'm just saying that like that stat kind of backs that like white supremacy isn't as prevalent because more white people die. But when you look at it as a percentage of the population, that stat doesn't really hold as much weight. Like really, I feel like more black people are dying when you look at it that way compared to how many white people there are in America, or it's like very equal. But like to say that it's not prevalent in America, like you don't see how white supremacy at all could leak into that, or how like black people could feel that way just based on like how the incarceration rate alone and how they've been policed.
No, you know why? I saw a video a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to show it to you here. It's a street corner in Chicago. Mm-hmm. There are people hanging out on the street. Gunfire breaks out. 2 people are hit. Everybody scatters. Somebody goes to the guy who's in the middle of the street to check on him. Another man who was shooting walks up. The guy looks at him completely unassuming, puts a gun to his forehead and shoots him, executes him. And then he walks around and he goes to another guy who got hit, puts a gun to his head, shoots him, executes him, gets into a car, drives away. It's the most horrendous thing I've ever seen in my life.
And that was like black on black crime.
Yes.
You don't see how white supremacy destroyed their communities and pitted them all against each other with gangs.
You cannot see that video and tell me that is the cause of white supremacy. That is a corrupted soul. And you're going to tell me white people are responsible for that?
Yes, I am, because white supremacy back in the 70s, 80s, and years before that led to the conditions that a lot of inner cities find themselves in today, where gang life is the way just for these people, a lot of these kids just to survive, or they don't even, that's just what they're born into. That's life. And that's what leads to all this black on black crime. It's not justifying it, but it is saying that, like, I don't think that those communities would all be like that if it wasn't for a lot of things we did. And incarceration rates prove that, bro. Like there's so many less black people in America, yet if you look at our prison system, there's so many more black people in prison than white people. So like that doesn't make sense. There's got to be some aspect of that.
If it was such a big issue, if it was something that was so prevalent, why are we being told that we need to watch this video? Why are we being hyped up on this video when the videos that I just described are out there 10 times to 1 and not one person is protesting that?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But you can hold two truths in your hands.
I understand that these people were in a place of authority, and you should be concerned about people who abuse that to the point where they're murdering somebody. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But if you can look at these numbers objectively and not just excuse it by talking about the population, that really doesn't mean anything. That's just a number. You're just throwing out a number. Well, there's more white people, so of course more white people are going to get murdered. No, that doesn't make any sense at all.
What do you mean? How does it not?
Because that would mean that many more white people were just on whole likely to come into a scenario where they're coming across the police. Right? If what you're saying is true and it's white supremacy that is holding down the black community and causing so many people to be in trouble with the policemen, then you would think that way less white people would come into contact police, so much so that they're getting murdered. Right? I mean, if you're going to accept that, you're going to have to accept the other thing. So I can't just wholesale say that because there's so many more white people in America that it doesn't matter that almost twice as many of them are getting murdered by police. And to me, it's a good enough argument to say, well, maybe we have this thing wrong about racist police. Maybe we do. And if we do, wouldn't that be best case scenario for everybody?
I think it'd be better to pose that question to a black person that deals with those kind of people, or I think they would be able to identify how white supremacy has affected them or how they feel like that it has, than us kind of talking about it.
I guess, dude, but also the police chief in Memphis is black, the mayor is black. It's a community of mostly black people.
But separate that. I guess we're separating both of these things. That can be true. Like this shitty event happened,
because we're using this story to talk about. We're using this story to say, hey, this is actually a much bigger problem with the police structure as a whole in America. And really, you can pin white supremacy on the reason that this happened.
See, I don't agree with that. I think it's more police training and just shitty people becoming cops, which I think is prevalent. There's tons of great cops too, but there's shitty people in any industry. So, there's going to be shitty cops. I've heard some rumors. My dad was texting me about this stuff. He's heard that these guys were fast tracked basically to get numbers up within this police squad to get up, minority numbers within the squad. So their training was fast tracked instead of it being 6 to 12 months. My dad is alleging that we're going to be hearing that these guys their training was fast tracked. And basically these guys shouldn't have been cops. So within 3 to 4 weeks, these guys are on the street policing.
Well, yeah. Couldn't you believe that? With all the talk of abolishing police going on?
No, I definitely could believe that, for sure.
Absolutely, that makes sense to me. Who's going to want to be a cop after this?
I don't know.
Maybe you think you're a decent, upstanding person, and then you get into a position of authority, and then you find out that, actually, I wasn't as strong as of a person I thought I was, and then when I'm with 2 or 3 other guys who are abusing their power.
Yeah, but then you also save some kid's life or do something like that, and that makes you feel amazing about what you're doing. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that is overwhelmingly the interactions that people have with police. Overwhelmingly the interactions that people have with police. I think it was I thought they had it here in this article, but they don't. It's some ridiculous amount of like billions of interactions that people have with police. A study published in the Journal of Trauma and Acute Surgery in 2018 looked at more than 1 million service calls to police departments in Arizona, Louisiana, and North Carolina, and found that officers use physical force in the course of arrest less than 1% of the time. Moreover, 98% of suspects who were arrested using force sustained no or mild injury. Right? So what we're seeing is amplified to the max. Mm-hmm. And so obviously that can get into our brains. I mean, of course it can. And I think that's kind of the point here. It becomes at some point when we're being told that a nation braces for the Tyre Nichols video. What the fuck does that even mean? What does that even mean? A nation braces for the Tyre Nichols video. But would you say it'd be safe to say when the George Floyd video were to come out, a nation would brace for that?
This video was way worse than the George Floyd video. Way worse. Way worse. This guy was brutalated.
So why is that not okay for a nation to break? If you're going to actually see what went down when 6 cops surround and totally beat the fuck out of this dude, Rodney King style, a nation would need to somewhat prepare themselves for that. But I guess I would just say the George Floyd one would be more, because then you bring in like the racism of it, because it's a white cop on a black guy, as opposed to black cops, doing this to a black man. At the end of the day, it's just police brutality.
And now it's less than a week from that video being released, and it's not a story anymore. Because you can't press an angle to it. So we didn't need to brace for anything.
I see what you're saying.
And it is bad, but there are way worse things going on out there that we should be way more upset about. And we're not, because we're not being told to.
I see. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
In some quick political news, Nikki Haley has announced her announcement to run for president in 2024. You know who she is?
No, who's that?
I don't really know either. I know she was like the ambassador for the UN during Trump. Somebody that Ben Shapiro has called previously his spirit animal. So somebody that I'm inclined to dislike based off that information. Quick, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I thought this was interesting. So the January 6th committee put out their full report. They did a whole broadcast of it, and they publicized the entire report, or so we thought. The head person, chairwoman of that committee, did an interview with CBS News and said that the FBI and the intelligence community had sufficient evidence to act in defense of violent behavior on January 6th. And if they had done so, they would have prevented violent behavior on January 6th. This is something that was not previously publicized in any reports, which is a pretty interesting little tidbit to me, because we know they knew things. Like we know that they declined extra protection.
Why does it always come out like that, man? Same with 9/11. The exact same thing happened with 9/11.
I know. Well, why does it? I mean, for a reason, obviously, right? Like if you're gonna publicize the whole report and you omit something when you say you're gonna publicize the whole report, and then you purposefully release it later, there's a reason for that.
Say, I put my tinfoil hat on, man. That sounds like a new conspiracy to me, man. I have read into some things about January 6th being like set up by the Dems to just totally obliterate Trump, which is just wild to me that they could be that smart.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know that they ever thought it would get that as bad as it got.
Yeah.
Because it got bad, dude. But certainly, I think they were inviting something, right? I think they were playing with fire a little bit. It seems like, for sure, if they know something.
Well, and this video just came out this week of Nancy Pelosi's husband and his intruder. Did you see that video that got released?
Oh, yeah. That was weird.
Dude, it's
that was weird.
Crazy, man. And like, allegedly, this dude just broke into his house and then, hit him with a hammer. And you see it on the video that he attacks him. But somehow all their cameras at the Pelosi residence were broken that night. So that's weird. It always happens that way, but they were all out.
Right.
There's rumors that these guys knew each other, or like some kind of like interaction at I've heard like a gay bar got thrown out there. I don't have that for sure as fact, but I have heard that as a story in a lot of places.
It's just interesting to see what, like, when they opened the door, just an odd scene. Right now, here's somebody gave an explanation that was rational that I thought, okay, this might hold up. So let's say you're Paul Pelosi. He had a drink in his hand, so he had definitely been drinking. He had at least one drink because it was in his hand. Probably more. You're at home. You're alone. Somebody manages to break into your house, but they're not belligerent. They look like a threat, but they're not belligerent. And so you get into fight or flight mode and you say, okay, I'm going to alert the police, but I'm going to keep this guy as calm as possible for as long as possible because I am an old, frail man and this is a big, young dude and he can overpower me. I cannot overpower him.
True.
My only option here is to be clever. And so he decides to play along with the guy a little bit, be a little friendly, indulge him in his insanity until the cops get there. And once the cops get there, they open the door, they see the guy with the hammer. The guy realizes that this is his last opportunity to do what he came there to do, and he takes the opportunity and he hits him. Now, I heard that, I'm like, okay, that makes way more sense
for sure
than Paul Pelosi is like a freak.
Yeah.
who has like weird gay lovers in San Francisco and like all the other weird like
for sure
conspiracies
and the way that he's like traded stocks like so honestly like very brazenly. The moves that they have made over the last 5 to 8 years have been very successful, let's put it that way, and how the Pelosi's have chose to invest their money. But just something that made me just think it was weird. It scratched my head. I saw a clip, I'll play it here, of this guy, David DePape, I think is how you say his name. That's the attacker of Paul Pelosi. And from jail, he calls into a news station in San Francisco. And this is what he said. And I just don't this feels weird. Like it's not him, or he was like coaxed to saying this, or he's just a fucking psycho. I really can't discern what it is. So let me show this to you.
What do you want to say? Because they released, as you know, they released the video earlier today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes. What did you want? Thank you for calling me. What did you want to tell me?
Now that you all have seen the body cam footage, I have a more important message for everyone in America. You're welcome. Freedom of liberty isn't dying. It's being killed systematically and deliberately. The people killing it have names and addresses. So I got their names and addresses so I could pay them a little visit and have a heart-to-heart chat about their bad behavior. The tree of liberty needs watering. You need men of valor, patriots willing to put their own lives on the line to stand in opposition to tyranny. I would also like to apologize. I want to apologize to everyone. I messed up. What I did was really bad. I'm so sorry. I didn't get more of them. It's my fault. No one else is to blame. I should have come better prepared. I spent all my time exposing government corruption online, only to have them silence my freedom of speech as quickly as they could. They circumvented the Constitution and private industry. When the ruling class outsources the repression of your civil rights to private industry, it's called fascism. I have a lot more to say. I had a website of over 300 pages. That's 300 pages of stuff they don't want you to hear. I'm in the process of trying to set up a new site out of the reach of tyrannical global homo fascists and their internet censors.
Whoa, I was not expecting that.
Dude, I saw that video. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Why would you do that? Like, to me, it sounds like he's like reading it, and it's in my just conspiratorial brain. It's like, are they like holding a gun to your head, saying like, go fucking say this? Like, we need to make Trumpers look so fucking bad.
Oh, he's not a Trumper. He's very much a leftist.
Is he really?
Oh, yes.
Okay. See, I just don't. It's just the video just seems so weird to me. I just don't know what to think of it.
I think he believes every word that he said there.
Yeah,
100%.
Just a crazy motherfucker.
That guy's a nut.
Oh,
I'm sorry I didn't get more of him. Yikes.
Dude, it's like, so you are planning on spending the rest of your life in prison for sure.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Hey, did you see, okay, you know who Mr. Beast is, right? Everyone knows Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a little annoying to me. I know he's like a very helpful and giving and great person, but I don't know. He just annoys me.
I don't watch him. I really, truly don't know. I know his shtick, but I've never seen a video of his ever. Mm. But I know that he like does really like wild and interesting things, and then that generates a lot of views, which generates a ton of money, and then I believe he just rolls all of that back into like his next stunt, right?
Yeah,
which end up being incredibly expensive, but they garner views, and it's a nice little cycle that gets him a lot of money. To my understanding, he doesn't retain a ton of that money. I could be wrong. But this past week, he cured like 11,000 people from blindness.
I saw that, man. I didn't realize blindness was curable to that degree, to be honest with you.
Me either. He even said, he tweeted out, I don't understand why curable blindness is a thing. Why don't governments step in and help? Even if you're thinking purely from a financial standpoint, it's hard to see how they don't return on investment on taxes from people being able to work again. Like 100% true. Mm-hmm. But people are like really going after this guy after he cured 11,000 people for blindness, saying that he's doing like these philanthropic works for profit, and that's the reason that he's doing them. And I'm sitting here thinking, how miserable of a person do you have to be? Like, when have you ever helped as many people as 11,000 people see again? Like, that's such a ridiculous accomplishment. Like, most people will never be able to touch that many people's lives in their life at all. Like, he's done such an incredible thing. And the blowback was just incredible. I could not believe how many people were upset about what he was doing.
Yeah. And
they just say it's like making money off of those lesser than him. And like, I can't, like, how far gone do you have to be in your worldview that's what you come into the situation with? I'm happy that things still surprise me in that way and still take me aback in that way. And I'm not like so jaded on everything in life.
Yeah. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And he does a lot of great shit to help people. So you can't shit on him, but I have seen an interesting conversation revolve around him or kind of springboard off of him, in that he said that when he dies, like, he will have no money. He will have given it all away. Like, that is his plan, to die completely broke. And it kind of has springboarded this other argument or like a thought process out there about an inheritance tax, a death tax. And some people believe or would like there to be 100% death tax. What that would mean is basically you have no money to pass down to your family. It all goes to the government. which is a wild idea, but the idea is that it would have more of these billionaires, millionaires, and this would be over a certain dollar amount per year. Like if you're making less than 70K or whatever, I don't think this would affect you. But like for the very, very rich, there'd be some kind of percentage. Maybe it's not 100, maybe it's 85% or something like that, where they would be incentivized basically to give their money back to different things. What it could create is very, very interesting, because you wouldn't just have a huge mass hoarding of wealth by the very, very small percentage of people that have most of the money. You'd have a redistribution into the entire community of America, whatever that is. If it's more research into healthcare, and there's, fix, cancer, or more research into Alzheimer's, or all these different things where that money could go instead of just into the bank accounts of future generations of that specific Rothschild family or whatever it is. I think it's really, really an interesting idea. I don't think it should be 100%. Obviously, you want to have something to pass on to your kids and things of that nature to allow them to grow. But also the argument could be made that you have your life to try and set them up with the money that you've made. And then from that point, it should be on them and their work ethic, not all this huge amount of wealth that you've accumulated. So I think it's a really interesting idea.
It's an interesting thought until you realize that it's a very, very small percentage of families that actually keep their wealth past 2 or 3 generations, like really small. It doesn't exist. Like I think we like to have this idea in our head, like old money, and yeah, of course that exists, but that's not nearly anybody. Past 2 or 3 generations, that money does not exist in the way that it did before. So to me, it happens naturally. I certainly don't like the idea of the government coming in and taking a majority of what you've accumulated in your life. One, it's fuck them, like it's not theirs, and 2, no, like it's going to incentivize people to do anything. Like, why would I do anything if all I have to pass on to my family is peanuts? Right? Like I've accumulated a net worth of about $50 million, and the government's going to come in and take 80% of that. So then I'm taxed on the other 20%. And now I'm giving my kids, and maybe I'm giving them $1 million each, which is not nothing. But if I had 50 million in wealth and I was getting $1 million and that's all I could give to that to me seems absolutely ridiculous.
I know, but in the spirit of fuck the government, like most people wouldn't hold on to their money so that it would go to them. So like the idea was that it would be, instead of just continuing to help yourself or your brood, it would be to help others. Like I do see where the advantage of that would be. Maybe it's not 100%, but even if it's like a 50% inheritance tax, like that money honestly probably could go to better places than just sitting in that account.
But it's a general idea of like, you aren't smart or good enough of a person to know what to do with your wealth. So we're gonna incentivize you, or we're gonna tell you that if you don't give it away, then we're gonna take like the large chunk of it. Fuck off. Like really, like truly fuck off. Because you see so many of these billionaires who are just like, yeah, I know I have way too much money. Like I know I have more money than I'll ever spend ever in my life that I could possibly spend. I mean, look at Elon Musk. Like he bought Twitter and he still hasn't spent all of his money. They have way too much money. And so they all sign pacts that they're going to give like half of it away to charity. And some of that stuff is, just propped up so that they can keep that money going. But I don't know. I feel like if you believe that generally people are good, and I believe that generally people are good, they're going to do the right thing.
Yeah, I hope so.
They're going to give a lot of that money away.
I hope so. This kind of, if you institute this in some degree, it kind of forces their hand to do that, but make them still be the good guy in a way.
Play that just a little bit further, and let's say that they don't, and they have to give the money to the government, and so now you're trusting the government to do the right thing with your money?
I don't think anyone would let that money get to the government. I think everyone would say, fuck you, but yeah, that's true.
If you had to guess, what would you say that the least obese country is in the world?
I'd say, I guess it'd be somewhere in Europe.
Wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Least obese. Okay. Well, there's probably a lot of famine in Africa, so I'd say it's there.
Okay. In the developed world.
Oh, okay. It's not America.
It's definitely not America. America is absolutely, without a shadow of the doubt, the fattest country in the world. The fattest by a large margin.
And then I'm pretty sure China has a similar problem to what we have, although there's going to be supposedly famines and all this other shit coming up because they have too many people, but I know they have like a high obesity rate there, I think. I don't know. It's not in Europe. Australia?
As a percentage of total adult population over the age of 15, Japan has only 4.2% of people that are obese, followed by Korea
Okay.
And then Italy.
Really?
Which is interesting because Italy lives on pasta and bread.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is an interesting little phenomenon. I know they do a whole lot of walking, but also it might have to do with non-refined carbohydrates.
Yeah.
On the other end of the spectrum, the United States has 40% of their adult population over the age of 15 classified as obese, followed by Chile at 34.4%. So there's an almost 6% difference between the two countries. Mexico in third place. New Zealand, surprising. I don't know why. Surprisingly, I've never been to New Zealand, but they are fourth fattest. And then Hungary rounds out the top five. And bottom five, you have Norway, Switzerland, Italy, Korea, Japan.
Very interesting.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I have some interesting little, I know you're not a baseball guy, but these are some pretty cool stats. Baseball
You
stats.
let me get my superhero talk in, so I'll let you get your baseball attack.
Thank you. Thank you, quite kind sir. These are the rarest events in MLB game history. Individual, not like team events. 2 grand slams in one inning. There's been one player in all of MLB history that's hit 2 grand slams in one inning. And then the next rarest thing to happen is that you ground out into a double play 4 times in a game. It's only happened twice. That one person has grounded out into 4 double plays in one game. You'd think that would happen a lot. It's only happened twice. Only 3 times in MLB history has somebody hit 3 hits in one inning. Only 4 times in MLB history has somebody hit a grand slam in their first career at bat. Only 5 times has somebody struck out 20 batters in a 9-inning game. For reference, there are 27 batters guaranteed in any game. Only 6 times has somebody been caught stealing 3 times in a game. And some more popular stats, only 339 people in MLB history have hit for the cycle. There's been 318 no-hitters, 224 inside the park grand slams.
Wow.
And 133 home runs in someone's first career at bat. And that, for me, that's all I'm going to do is look up random baseball stats until baseball season starts, because I don't give a shit about the NBA, dude. Like, this is the worst time for sports for me ever.
Really?
I hate this period.
No, it's the best, bro. I mean, you got hockey, you got basketball.
Yeah, yuck. I mean, I love hockey, but like regular season NBA basketball has got to be the worst. I'm sure some people will argue that regular season baseball is the worst.
It's pretty bad.
Regular season basketball to me is just the most dry thing ever.
I would agree with you up until like this point, because basically I think the NBA starts to get good right after the All-Star game, which is like right around Valentine's Day usually. So it's about to ramp up because then playoffs start. Like they want to obviously be well seeded for playoffs, and then they're really playing in the playoffs. But the NBA needs to shorten their season because it's far too long. Results in a lot of teams sitting players, and the fans that go there to see their favorite players play. We're resting Kawhi Leonard tonight. But what the fuck? I just paid $200 for my ticket. Like that leads to a lot of pissed off fans, and really it's far too long for the amount of traveling those guys have to do. So I think if they like shortened it, that would make the games all worth more, like you see in the NFL, where every week people are out there dying, on the I shouldn't say that. Every week people are out there, balls to the wall trying to win, because you only have 17, 18 opportunities regular season to try to get to the promised land, as opposed to baseball, where you have 160, and NBA, which I think is like 100. Yeah. It's like the games just mean less. Honestly, they just mean less. So
what you're saying is that there's no room for you to throw a tantrum in the middle of the court when you don't get a foul at the end of the game.
He got fucked by that call. That LeBron James call was ridiculous, bro. And that ref that didn't call that foul, the games that he has ref, the Celtics are 38-2. So you want to talk about some kind of collusion going on. That was 100% a foul. And he maybe acted kind of babyish in how he responded, but that is the last play.
He threw that's a grown man. He threw a tantrum.
That's the last play of the game against the number 1 team in the East. That would have been a huge victory for the Lakers. And they got
He's still talking
cheated
about it. It's like 2 games later, he's still talking about it.
How do you think about that, though? It's same with like umps in baseball. Like when these guys fuck up, there's got to be some accountability in some regard. Like that's the whole point of the replay system, is to fix when they fuck up. But when they both fail, like things have to be like the NBA coming out after that game, like an hour later, like, oh, we messed up. That does nothing for you. Like
ooh, yeah, you shouldn't do that.
No,
I mean, you definitely shouldn't ever admit that you did wrong. Ever. I'm serious. Yeah. If you're the NBA or you're the refs, you should never do it.
If Bill Clinton taught us anything, it's that.
That's amen. Amen, Bill. So that's a lasting legacy for you. No, you don't ever do that. Listen, you have the replay, but the things you can't replay, you can't. There's nothing you can do about it. You accept it and you move the fuck on.
But you can replay that. That's a shooting foul. It should have been a shooting foul. It should have been reviewed.
You can review it. You can review a shooting foul in basketball.
Absolutely. You can't.
No wonder.
You can't,
see, that's why people don't watch it anymore.
If
you can review a shooting foul.
Well, yeah, because you need to see if it's a foul or not.
It's so boring. It's so boring. People miss calls all the time. It's so boring. So you're saying that play could have been reviewed and it wasn't?
Yes, correct.
Really?
Yeah, because it's up to the ref to review it. Unless there's a challenge by the coach, but the coach didn't have any more timeouts, so you can't use a challenge. So it's like in that position, that's a huge game. It doesn't mean as much because we're not towards the end of the season, but like I think the fact like the players themselves are just frustrated because like there has already been, we've already seen one ref and a circle of refs like get taken down in the NBA for fixing games. Like it's a known thing, and then you have this ref who's 38-2 when he refs Celtics games. It's like there's something weird there. These players know this shit. They know certain refs fuck with certain teams and don't fuck with certain players, so they're not going to get calls like that. That's not how you can't like play favorites in refereeing. Like that's not your goal there. You have to be a neutral party there and referee the game. And so I think that frustration just boiled over in that play. He's a professional
you can't
athlete.
Insert yourself into the game like that.
Exactly.
Like that Patrick Mahomes foul at the end of the game.
Dude,
was not a foul. You don't call that foul. Not in that position. That you're going full speed. Every yard counts because you're trying to stop them. He was a half step out of bounds at the most.
Yeah, no, and especially when they didn't call it when. Did you see the Cincinnati running back on the drive before that go out of bounds and get hit? He got hit way later, and they didn't call it on him. It's that game had a lot of questionable plays, man. That fourth down.
I'd like to know what the training is with like there's got to be some sort of training when you're a professional referee where you learn how to quiet your inner emotions, your inner self, and like a athlete, breathe slowly and deeply, and don't let yourself get caught up in the moment. Because I feel like too many refs allow that to happen, and they panic and they say, "Oh well, what if I don't call this? Oh shoot, like wasn't flag."
Yeah,
it's like no. I feel like the posture needs to be, well, if I'm questioning it, it may not have happened, so I'm not going to call it. And like that last penalty, like that penalty gives Kansas City the yardage they need to kick a field goal and win the game. And you have to be damn sure before you throw that flag. Like you have to know 100% before you throw that flag, because you know the consequences. And if you don't, then that is when you're inserting yourself into the game. That's when it becomes unacceptable, to me at least.
And I just think, what profession out there is there that when you continually fuck up, you're not held accountable for your actions? Like I know there's that umpire in baseball that everyone fucking hates. Oh yeah, but like there's certain refs that have a history of these kind of calls, and it's like they need to be taken more accountable, and I think they'll act more serious in what they're doing. Perhaps, I mean, you're gonna have mistakes. People make mistakes. That's like we're all human, but I think when it's like a repeated thing, like that needs to be addressed, or you're going to continue to have things like what went on in that Lakers game and then the blowback afterwards.
Right.
Can I tell you a crazy story real quick before we get out of here? I just read it online. Yeah, I'm just going to read this to you as I read it. Due to German privacy laws, we don't have the full names of these people yet. They will come out in time. But listen to this story. There's a German woman who is accused of murdering a lookalike she found on Instagram in an elaborate attempt to fake her own death. The alleged perpetrator, identified as 23-year-old Sheriban K., that's all they can release of her name, killed beauty blogger, I think it's Khadija O., who is also 23, in Germany last August, according to investigators. Khadija had been brutally stabbed more than 50 times with her body left in the back seat of Sheriban's Mercedes. Sheriban K. and an accomplice, identified as her boyfriend, subsequently went into hiding. When the body was found, police traced the car's registration to Sheriban K.'s family. Given the corpse had been disfigured, investigators assumed that she was the victim. However, a subsequent autopsy report uncovered that the actual victim was Khadija O., prompting an investigation into the bizarre case dubbed the Doppelgänger murder. This week, police charged Sheriban K. with the murder, with prosecutors saying she trolled Instagram in a bid to find a victim who matched her physical appearance. It has been confirmed that the accused had contacted several women via Instagram before the act who seemed to look similar to her. Attorney General Veronica Greaser, told local publication Bild. It can be assumed that the suspect wanted to go into hiding due to internal disputes with her family and to fake her own death to avoid them. According to investigators, Sherban K connected with the beauty blogger Khadija O via Instagram sometime last summer, sending her messages about cosmetics. She purportedly enticed the victim into meeting up by offering a set of beauty products. On the day of the crime, Sherban told her parents that she was going to visit her ex-husband in Munich, and instead, her and her boyfriend allegedly picked up Khadija in a Mercedes. At some point, investigators believe they turned off into a forest where Khadija O was stabbed more than 50 times, and the injuries to her face were so severe she was completely unrecognizable. The Sherban K then parked the Mercedes in a place where it could be easily discoverable, leaving the body in the back seat. So basically, this lady just tried to steal this lady's life from her, literally, and then tried to become her online and thought nobody would know that this would happen. No one would notice that she looks slightly different and all these other things. It's just a wild story, dude.
I appreciate the hustle, man. That's some complexity.
Oh my God, dude. And then
it took a lot of thought to get to that point.
Yeah.
Also, she's a fucking moron.
Like in today's world.
Like, how do you not know that there are people that's going to come out if you're like researching these people,
right?
Messaging them and spending time with them beforehand? Like, come on now.
Yeah, exactly. And then,
goodness.
dental records and shit like this. Like, it sounds like she stabbed her like 50 times in the face. So I could see why that's unrecognizable. But Jesus Christ, dude, like DNA, all these other things are going to point to that not being the person. They're not just going to be like, oh, she was in the car. It must be her.
Yeah, they're probably like, oh, well, of course they found this person's DNA. This is this person.
Yeah. So, wild story. She has been caught, but it's wild that happened in August of last year and is now just kind of being deciphered through. She kind of lived as her for very many months.
Well, I thought the Germans have grown up. Apparently not.
Back to our old ways.
Alrighty, let's get out of here, man. If you would like to reach out to us, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email, bomberdude.media@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Twitter @friendshipnh, and you can hit us up on TikTok and or Instagram. Same handle, @friendshipnewshour. See you next time.